We have another story from this time of the Bani Israel, the children of Israel, where 3 youth were stuck in a cave. And in this story, one of them asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to move the rock that made them stuck in the cave by a good deed he did, which was, he was very good to his parents. He said, "Oh Allah, my parents were old and I had taken an oath never to feed my kids before my parents. Except one day I was late with the herd of sheep, came back, my parents had fallen asleep, and I had an oath. So I sat guard over the milk even though my kids were crying. And I waited for my parents to wake up, gave them milk, then I gave my kids milk. Oh Allah, if I did this for your sake, then move the rock." So a rock moved 1/3 of the way. Now a third person, he didn't have such a good deed, such a pious good deed. He had just honest business. He was just honest in business. Business is not charity. Honesty in business is enough. To give people their dues is enough. The Prophet ﷺ said the honest merchant is with the martyrs on the Day of Judgment. So one was generous to his family. The second was just fair. So a man worked for him and he owed him a male sheep and a female sheep. All right, after his work, the worker said, "I'm going to travel. I don't need these sheep now. Save them for me for later." So the man left and the owner of the sheep took these sheep and married them together, or mated them together. After 10 years, the man remembered, "Oh, I need 2 sheep. That guy owes me 2 sheep. So he went and he said, "Remember me, I worked for you that one day. You owe me a male sheep and a female sheep." He said, "That old valley over there," he looked, he found it filled with sheep. He said, "All that's yours." He said, "How? You only owe me 2. He said, "Yes, but I mated them. Therefore, anything that comes out of that product is yours too." So that is fairness and justice in business, okay? Because he was told, "Save them for me. They're not your sheep anymore. They're my sheep, but just save them to me." So if you take someone's money and you go and invest it for them while they're away without their permission, and you make a ton of money, that money should be theirs, okay? And in fiqh, of course, there are discussions about that. They may say you did haram, but the money's yours, so check your fiqh for that. But this man was fair in business. So he said, "Oh Allah, if I did this for your sake, move the rock," and the rock moved. The third one was neither generous nor fair in business. In fact, he was very sinful, but he had enough fear of Allah not to go from major sins to worse sins. You have to realize that this too deserves, in the sight of Allah, it earns you some reward with Allah. This man, he loved a woman. That woman was a cousin of his. And in his eyes, she was the most beautiful person in the world. He wanted to marry her so badly, but she rejected him. She didn't want to marry him. Time passed. She fell on hard times. She needed money. He was rich. She came to him and she said, "I need money. I'm in a big debt." He said, "Well, you need me now. You know what I want." She capitulated. She came into his house. He closed the door and she sat down on the bed. He pushed her down onto her back, began doing what he was planning to do until she spoke. She said, "Fear Allah and don't break the seal." She was a virgin. So he's already done all the sins, but he feared Allah and he got off her. So here, you don't even have someone pious. You have someone who's a sinner, but he fears Allah enough not to make his sin really bad and hurt somebody else really. He already hurt her. He already disgraced her, but he didn't go too far in it. And just as a result of that, Allah moved the rock even more. He said, "Oh Allah, I got up off of this woman whom I wanted so badly." And you know, when a person's desire take over, it's extremely hard to make a sound decision. And the rock moved. "If I did this for your sake, move the rock." This is all called tawassul bil amal. And why did the Prophet choose this story? Because each one has a different level of piety. Not everyone's going to be like that, such a pious son. Not everyone's going to be in the opportunity to be a fair businessman. But most of us will be of the opportunity that I'm going to go commit 100% of the sin. I stopped at 50. I stopped at 60. At least I didn't make it worse. This is all called tawassul bil amal, and we should utilize this in our dua so that it could be more likely to be answered.